These are the 22 principles I'd use to trade. I've been doing this for 16 years. Started with about $6,000 in college, no finance background, no mentor, and it's been the only career I've ever had since. This is the opposite of a get-rich-quick video, and nothing here is me telling you what to do with your money. The traders who last are not the ones who are right the most. They're the ones who cut the mistakes that blow up accounts, then repeated a boring process long enough for it to actually matter. Let's start with principle 1 because it changes how you see the other 21. Principle 1, trade the process, not the prediction. The new trader thinks the goal is to predict the next move. Call the top, call the bottom, be right. Here's the turn. Nobody knows the next candle. The job was never to predict. It's to follow a process that has an edge over a lot of trades and to lose small when you're wrong. A process means the same checklist every single time. A level you trust, a reason to be in, a defined risk, a defined exit. Same inputs, repeatable. There was a point early on where I stopped trying to be right and started trying to be consistent instead. The second that shift happened, the pressure dropped off completely. I wasn't trying to win the trade anymore. I was trying to execute the process correctly and let the process win over time. That sounds like a small shift, but it changes almost everything downstream of it. When the goal is be right, every loss feels like a personal failure, and every win feels like proof you figured something out that you probably haven't. When the goal is run the process, a loss just means the process produced a normal outcome, and a win means the same thing. You stopped grading yourself trade by trade, and you start grading yourself on whether you did the thing you said you do, regardless of what the market decided to do with it afterward. Once you accept it's a process, the next question is what you protect first, and the answer surprises most people. Principle 2, protect your capital before you chase a return. Every new trader's first question is the same. How much can I make? Position size for the dream, not the downside. Here's the turn. The first job is not making money. It's staying in the game long enough for your edge to actually play out. You cannot compound an account you already blew up. Decide what you're willing to lose on a trade before you ever think about what you could win. The risk comes first, and the reward is a byproduct of surviving long enough to collect it. And I want to say this plainly, trading carries real risk. You can lose money. That's exactly why protecting capital matters more than chasing the number on the upside. I've learned this the hard way a while back where the market moved fast and hard against a lot of positions at once. It reminded me in a very expensive way that staying solvent always comes before being aggressive. Principle 3, an edge is repeatable, not magic. Hunting for the one indicator, the one setup, the signal that finally prints every time. Always one tool away from the answer. Here's the turn. An edge isn't a secret. It's a setup that works slightly more than it fails, repeated with discipline, boring on purpose. You don't need to win every trade. You don't need a setup with a positive expectancy and the patience to run it across many trades, not one. Everything after this exists to build that one repeatable edge and then keep yourself from sabotaging it. I'll show you exactly where all of this points before we're done. A repeatable edge needs a repeatable signal, and for me, that starts where price actually reacts. Principle 4, master support and resistance before anything else. The chart looks like noise, random green and red. No idea where to even start. Here's the turn. Price isn't random. It reacts at levels where buyers and sellers have shown up before. Support is where buyers tend to step in and resistance is where sellers tend to. That's your map. Mark the levels that actually have been respected. The prices the market keeps reacting to again and again. Those are your decision points. It's not every wiggle in between. I choose which levels matter based on how many times the price has actually reacted there across different conditions, not just how clean the line looks on the chart. A level that's earned its respect gets my attention. A line I drew once doesn't. This is also the principle that quietly replaces most of what beginners think they need. Stack a chart with a dozen different indicators, and a lot of what they're each trying to tell you is some derivative of price reacting at a level it's reacted at before. Once you can see that directly on the actual chart, a lot of that noise just becomes unnecessary. You're not ignoring information, you're going straight to the source of it. A level only means something inside the bigger picture though, and that's next. Principle 5, read market context before you read the setup. You take a great looking setup and it runs you over anyway. Then you sit there wondering what went wrong when the level looked perfect. Here's the turn. A level behaves differently depending on context, the trend, and the higher time frame, where the broader market and the index are leaning. Context tells you whether a level is likely to hold or break. Zoom out first, know the trend and the bigger structure, then let the level give you the entry. Context first and setup second. The way I read context for the names I watch is simple. What's the broader market doing? What's the higher time frame structure saying? And does that agree with the level in front of me or fight against it? Think about two identical setups on 2 different days. Same stock, same exact level, same clean look on the chart. On one day, the broader market is grinding higher, and that level has the wind at its back. On another day, the broader market is rolling over hard, and that exact same level is suddenly fighting the entire tape. The level didn't change at all. The world around it did. That's the difference context makes, and it's invisible if you only ever look at one chart in isolation. Once context and the level agree, you still need a real reason to actually be in the trade. Principle 6, always know why you're in a trade. Clicking in because it looks like it's going up, then having no idea when to actually get out. Here's the turn. Every trade needs a thesis you could say out loud in one sentence. The level, the context, and what would prove you wrong. If you can't state the reason and the invalidation, it's not a trade. It's a bet. Skip it. My own thesis fits one sentence every time. This level with this context behind it, and here's exactly what tells me I'm wrong. If I can't fill in all 3 pieces, I don't take it. Principle 7, define your invalidation before you enter. Holding a loser and giving it room, moving the line because you don't want to be wrong. Here's the turn. The price that proves your idea wrong gets decided before you enter, not in the heat of the moment. That's your exit. No negotiation with yourself once you're in. The level you're trading gives you a natural invalidation point where your original reason for being in the trade no longer holds. That defines the trade, including how big it can actually be. Your invalidation is also what tells you how much to put on in the first place, and most people get that part completely backward. Principle 8, risk a small percentage per trade. Sizing by conviction. Huge when you know it's a winner, and then one of those certainties wipes out a month of progress in an afternoon. Here's the turn. How much you risk per trade should be a small slice of your account, decided in advance, the same whether you feel certain or not. Position size is the lever you actually control. Pick a risk per trade you could repeat 100 times in a row without flinching, and let the setup fit that size. Never stretch the size to fit how good a setup feels. I'll say this plainly, no size protects you from loss. Sizing just keeps a normal losing streak from ending your account, and losing streaks are part of it. They're not a maybe. My own rule of thumb is to keep risk per trade small enough that 10 losses in a row wouldn't put me in trouble. That's just math that respects how this business actually works over time. And I'll add this, the position size that feels exciting is almost always too big. If a position is making your pulse jump before you even click the button, that's not conviction. That's a sign the size doesn't match your actual risk tolerance. The trades that build an account over years tend to feel almost uneventful while they're happening. That's by design, not by accident. Principle 9, think in expectancy, not in single wins. Judging yourself by the last trade, elated on a win and crushed on a loss. Here's the turn. One trade tells you nothing. What matters is the average outcome across many trades. Your wins minus your losses over a big enough sample. A setup can lose more often than it wins and still be profitable if the wins are bigger than the losses. You're playing the average, not the next ticket. The moment I started thinking in samples instead of single trades, the emotional swings basically disappeared. A loss stopped being a referendum on me. It just became one data point in a much bigger set. This is also why journaling matters so much, which I'll get to later. You can't see expectancy in one trade. You can only see it across dozens, maybe hundreds, written down and reviewed honestly. The single trade is just noise. The sample is the signal. Principle 10, aim for trades where the reward justifies the risk. Risking a lot to make a little. Now you need to be right almost every single time just to break even. Here's the turn. Before you enter, the potential reward should be worth more than what you're risking. That ratio is a filter that throws out most mediocre trades for you automatically. Measure from your entry to your invalidation versus your entry to your target of the next level. If it isn't worth it, you pass. Most setups won't make the cut, and that's fine. That's the filter doing its job. I have a minimum reward to risk I personally hold myself to before I'll even consider a setup. If If it doesn't clear that bar, it doesn't matter how good the chart looks otherwise. Principle 11, size for zero and let winners run their level. Snatching small profits out of fear, then white knuckling losers hoping they come back. The exact opposite of what actually works. Here's the turn. Small losses are the cost of doing business. Take them without drama. Let winners work toward the next level instead of grabbing a scrap too early. Your invalidation caps the loss. Your next level guides the exit. Manage the trade by the chart. I've had trades where sizing for zero saved me from a much bigger problem. And I've had the opposite, where refusing to admit I was wrong and sizing in even bigger and averaging down, turning a small mistake into a big one. Both versions taught me the same lesson, just at very different costs. Principle 12, never risk what you can't afford to lose. Trading the rent money, sizing up to make it back. Every position carrying your actual stress and your actual bills. Here's the turn. Money you need to live on has no business in a trade. Risk capital only, the kind that losing wouldn't change your life. I want to be very plain about this one. Trading is risky, and losses happen to everyone who does this long enough. Protecting your actual life comes before any of the rest of these principles. My own line is simple. If losing it would change how I live, it doesn't go in the market. That line never moves, no matter how good a setup looks. It's tempting to treat this principle as obvious and skip past it, but it's the one that quietly gets violated the most. People don't usually plan to trade money they can't afford to lose. It happens gradually. A winning stretch makes the line feel safe to push, or a losing stretch makes someone reach for funds they told themselves were off limits. The line only works if you treat it as fixed, not as something that flexes with how confident you're feeling that week. Even with perfect rules though, there's one thing that breaks more traders than bad setups ever will, and it's not on the chart at all. Principle 13, your emotions are the real account killer. You know the rules, then real money's on the line, and fear, greed, and ego grab the wheel. Here's the turn. Most blown up accounts are not a strategy problem, they're a discipline problem. The edge is useless if you can't follow it under pressure. Assume you will feel the pull. Build rules that don't depend on you being calm. Decide in advance, written down, repeatable, regardless of how you feel that day. This is the principle that, in my experience, separates the traders who make it long-term from the ones who flame out after a great 6 months. Everybody has an edge that looks decent on paper. Almost nobody has the emotional control to run that edge unchanged through a brutal losing streak. That's not a strategy gap. That's the actual game underneath the chart. Principle 14, don't revenge trade. A loss stings, so you jump straight back in bigger to get it back, and now you're trading anger, not a plan. Here's the turn. The market doesn't owe you anything back. Revenge trading turns one normal loss into a real drawdown. A loss is a signal to step away, not to double down. Walk, reset, come back to the process when you're actually thinking clearly again. My own reset routine is simple. After a loss, I step away from the screen completely for a bit. No exceptions. The next trade I take has to come from the process, never from the sting of the last one. Principle 15, stop chasing, wait for your setup to come to you. FOMO on a candle running without you. So you chase the entry and end up buying the exact top of the move. Here's the turn. The market gives you setups every single day. You don't have to catch this one. Chasing means entering with no level, no context, and no edge behind you at all. Let the price come back to your level on your terms. No setup, no trade. Cash is a position too, and a perfectly fine one. I sit on my hands until my level actually triggers. Full stop. If it doesn't come, I didn't miss anything. There's always another setup coming. Principle 16, accept that losing trades are part of winning. Treating every loss as proof you're bad at this, or proof the whole strategy is broken. Here's a turn. Even a strong edge loses regularly. A losing trade you took correctly is still a good trade. The result and the decision are two completely different things. Grade yourself on whether you follow your process, not on whether that single trade happened to win. I separate the two on purpose. Every time, did I follow my rules? Yes or no? What the market did after that is just an outcome. One good decision can lose and one bad decision can win. Neither one changes what was actually correct. This is a hard one to internalize because it goes against how almost everything else in life gets judged. Outside of trading, outcomes usually do tell you whether a decision was good. In this business, a single outcome tells you almost nothing because randomness plays a role in any single trade. Only the decision quality repeated across many trades actually tells the truth. Principle 17, be consistent before you try to scale. Trying to size up before you can even trade small profitably. scaling the problem instead of scaling the edge. Here's the turn. Prove the process works at a size that doesn't scare you first. Size up only once the consistency is real and boring. Same rules, same setups, just bigger. And only after the small version has genuinely been working for a while. If someone asks me when they're ready to size up, my answer is simple. When the small size feels almost boring, because it's been working consistently. If it still feels stressful at the small size, the size isn't the problem yet. Principle 18, master one setup before you collect 10. Jumping between strategies every other week, never giving any one of them enough trades to actually know if it works. Here's a turn. One setup you understand deeply beats 10 you half know. Depth is where the edge actually lives. Pick one repeatable setup off your levels. Run it across enough trades to genuinely judge it. Then refine it before you even think about adding anything new. If I were pointing to a newer trader toward one thing to master first, it'd be reading a clean level with context behind it and nothing else. Get that right before adding a single additional tool. Principle 19, keeping a trading journal. No record of anything, so every month feels like starting over with the same exact mistakes. Here's the turn. If you don't track it, you can't improve it. The journal shows you where your edge actually is and where you keep leaking money. Log the setup, the reason, the risk, the result, and how you felt going in. Review it regularly. The patterns show up fast once it's written down in front of you. I track every trade with the setup, the level, the size, the outcome, and my state of mind at the time. Reviewing that log is what's caught most of my own bad habits before they got expensive. The honest truth is most people resist this one the longest because it forces you to look directly at your own mistakes in writing instead of letting them blur together in memory. But that resistance is exactly the signal that it's worth doing. The traders who skip the journal are usually the same ones repeating the same mistake every few weeks without ever quite noticing the pattern. Principle 20, have a written plan and follow it. A different set of rules every session, making it up as the candles move in front of you. Here's the turn. Discipline is just following a plan you wrote when you were calm while you're not calm. Decide the rules off the chart and execute them on the chart. Your levels, your context check, your risk per trade, your invalidation, and your exit. All written down before the open, not figured out live. What's on my own plan is exactly that list, nothing fancier. The plan isn't supposed to be clever. It's supposed to be something I can follow on my worst, most emotional day, exactly as well as my best one. Principle 21, trade your own plan and not the crowd's noise. Trading off a tweet, a hot take, whatever everyone's hyping that day with no real idea why beyond people are talking about it. Here's a turn. Noise is not analysis. The crowd is usually loudest right when it's most wrong. Your levels and your context are your decision, not the timelines. Filter everything through your own plan. If it doesn't fit your levels, your context, and your risk, it's not your trade, no matter how loud the room is about it. I tune most of it out completely. If it doesn't show up on my own chart, in my own context, it doesn't factor into my decision, which brings us to the one principle everything else has been building toward. Principle 22, survive long enough for the process to work. Here's what actually compounds an account, and it's the opposite of what the title promised you at the start. You don't get there by being right the most. You get there by removing the mistakes that ends accounts, and then surviving long enough for a small repeatable edge to add up over hundreds of trades. Protect capital, manage risk, control yourself, repeat the process. Do that long enough, and the math just works in the background. That's the whole game. Boring on purpose. Look back across all 22 of these and notice what they actually have in common. None of them are a secret. None of them require some special talent or some inside information nobody else has access to. They're all just things you have to actually do consistently, especially on days you don't feel like it. That's the entire edge, not knowing something nobody else knows. Doing something most people won't do for long enough for it to compound. And to say clearly one more time, this is how I think about markets shared for education. It's not a promise of profit. It's not advice for your specific situation. Trading always carries the risk of loss. What it is a process you can actually repeat. The hardest part was never knowing these 22. It's doing them every day when it's real money on the line. And that's a lot easier inside a room built for exactly that. So there it is, the 22 principles. And here's a promise I made you at the start, told honestly this time. This was never a get-rich video. The traders who last are the ones who cut the mistakes and repeated a process long enough for it to matter. Knowing these is the easy part. Actually running them every day when it's your own money on the line is the hard part.